Good morning, everybody. Hope you're in for a great day and an even better weekend. We're dealing with giants right now. We're talking about the 4 giants as we read about them in the book of 2 Samuel chapter 21, and they go hand in hand with Goliath, the one that David defeated. And this giant that we're dealing with at the moment is this guy called Saph. His name means fear. He's a powerful giant because fear is a powerful emotion. Fear will keep you behind the lines. Fear will keep you from achieving what God wants you to achieve. It's a huge, powerful giant. And because of the nature of the world that we live in, there's a lot of fear running around the place that we need to learn how to deal with. We spoke about understanding fear, and now we're talking about overcoming fear. Fear is overcome by a number of different ways. Yesterday, we spoke about the legitimate fear, the fear of being found out. We spoke about the power of confession to God and the confession to people around us, and there's nothing better than a clear conscience. But I have another legitimate fear today, and that is this thing called Fomo. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It means fear of missing out. Well, I'm like a kid. I never want to miss out on anything that's happening around. I will sacrifice sleep and food and whatever because I want to be a part of what's happening in the world around me. I share that same fear with my grandchildren who have this fear of missing out, and the little guys just don't want to go to bed because they know something's going to be happening, and so they would far rather force themselves to stay awake because they have Fomo. But Fomo has a negative aspect as well. We have Adam and Eve again in the Garden of Eden, and Satan came to them in the form of a serpent, and he said, "Hey guys, you're missing out on something. God's got something more for you. I know that God said you don't eat of the tree because, and the reason he's doing that, guys, is because he doesn't want you to be like him. You're missing out on the knowledge of good and evil, and you need to eat of the tree." And Adam and Eve looked at this, and they had the fear of missing out. And I got to tell you, I question it because can there be anything better than full-time fellowship with God himself? But they fell for the lie that there was more. Let me tell you, people, all you need, Jesus is an all-in-all deal. He is everything. He's all you need. He's all you will ever want to need. Jesus is everything. And when we turn our eyes upon Jesus and look at his face, the things of the world fall strangely dim in the light of his glory and his grace. A FOMO situation with Jesus is a problem. God is complete in and of himself. But we have this FOMO thing in a positive light as well. I'm going to tell you, if you want to find the glory of God and experience the wonder of God's presence and his work in your life, then you need to have a little bit of FOMO, fear of missing out on God's blessing. It's this fear of missing out on God's blessing that makes me take sin really seriously. It's this fear of missing out on God's blessing that makes me take his word really seriously. It's this thing about missing out on the blessing of God that makes me realize my dependence upon him to live my Christian life. And when we have that kind of FOMO, we will hate sin. We'll desire more of God. We'll be dependent upon him because he is the one who makes everything happen that is legitimately right for us to happen. So I hope that we'll develop a fear of the missing out of God's blessing as we deal radically with some of these things that would stop us from achieving and becoming what God wants us to do and to be. Let's look at that today in the light of the future of our lives and make sure we develop a good, healthy FOMO. Have a good day, you people. Bye.